bad. The future's not so hard to take with memories that we have. So we go through yesterday just to be here today. Just to be here today. Those were good old days. Never have to say goodbye and leave it all behind. But when we try to reminisce, it's not too hard to find. But what with new, there comes a change. It's really not so bad. The future's not so hard to take with memories that we have. So we go through yesterday just to be here today. Just to be here today. Those were good old days. So we go through yesterday just to be here today. Just to be here today. Just to be.
Ironically, perhaps the most significant event in Stark County history actually occurred in Buffalo, New York on September 14, 1901. Wounded by an assassin's bullet 7 days earlier, President William McKinley died, bringing a nation and a community to its knees. In Canton, upwards of 50,000 residents lined the streets as President McKinley's body was delivered to Canton by train and escorted through the downtown streets to the courthouse for a formal burial. Soon after his burial, the McKinley Monument Association was formed to build a monument in his honor. Begun in 1905, the structure was dedicated in September of 1907, with President Theodore Roosevelt in attendance. Despite the tragedy, life in Stark County went on, punctuated by briskly growing industrial and commercial developments. These developments started to change the landscapes in downtown Canton, with construction of a new courthouse. Around the turn of the century, similar development was also underway in downtown Massillon and in Alliance. These economic changes resulted in the blossoming of many downtown Canton hotels, including the Hotel Conrad, which in later years was the site of SS Kresge's, the Goshen Hotel, later renamed the Hotel New Barnett, the Cortlandt Hotel, which was located behind the courthouse, was to be renamed the St. Francis Hotel in later years. The Ernesto Hotel, on the corner of Cleveland Avenue and 2nd Street Northwest. And the Ohio Northern, which in later years was called the Belden Hotel. Featured inside the Belden Hotel was a well-known local restaurant called the Purple Cow. Why it was named the Purple Cow remains a mystery. One thing was for certain, the food was good and the prices were right. Amidst the hotels was the Canton City Auditorium and Marketplace, located on the corners of 4th and 5th Streets and Cleveland Avenue. Built in 1904, the building was torn down in 1956. Standing tall on the same corner where President William McKinley was inaugurated was the J.C. Penney building, certainly a local favorite. It was said to be the largest penny store in the nation by the late 1930s. Most travel in and out of the area began at the Pennsylvania Station on Market Avenue South. The B&O station, located on West Tusk, was home to regular steam engine traffic to and from Stark County. In the late 1800s, the major news of the day included word that the owners of the Duber Watchworks of Kentucky were looking for a new site, and Canton had won the prize. The Duber Hampton Watchworks plant was an impressive building with its 12-story high clock tower rising above the Canton skyline for 60 years. Perhaps more importantly, the company brought nearly 5,000 employees to Stark County as well. These new jobs meant more people and more development, including the construction of the First National Bank building in downtown Canton at the corner of Tuscarawas and Market. Upon its completion in 1921, it was the tallest building in Stark County. Lest you think early Stark Countyans were all work and no play, consider the number of theaters in the area. There were the Palace Theater on Market Avenue in downtown Canton, the Lowe's Theater on the east side of Market between 5th and 6th Streets was the first Lowe's to be built outside of Cleveland. The Grand Opera House was located on 3rd Street Southeast and served many useful purposes, including home to Bethel Temple. The Strand Theater in downtown Canton, the Windsor Theater in the Crystal Park area in Canton, and Maslin's Lincoln Theater all share one interesting note. All three movie houses were designed by architect Guy Tilden, considered by many to be the finest architect of his time. The Duber Theater was where many a youngster would while away the hours watching cartoons and a full-length double feature for one thin dime. The Ohio Theater was another hometown favorite. It was located on Market Avenue North and was the exclusive home of most Warner Brothers pictures. Over the years, many of these buildings sadly outgrew usefulness and were renovated into office space or torn down completely. A similar fate seemed to be marked for Canton's Palace Theater. Built in 1926 for a staggering $1 million, this grand facility fell on hard times and was closed. Only the efforts of many concerned Stark County residents saved it from the wrecking ball. Still operating today, the Palace Theater has proven to be a survivor as a new generation of moviegoers discover its charm and elegance. In later years, a new trend in moviegoing took stride: the drive-in theater. Who will ever forget the thrill of packing up the car, finding just the right spot, attaching a speaker to the car window, if you could find one that worked, and watching a movie? The Stark Drive-In between Canton and Maslin was one of several such theaters.
Time to stretch and bench. See what's cooking at our refreshment counter. You'll find your favorite foods and beverages, plus many new goodies to tempt your appetite and add to your evening's pleasure.
Life in Stark County before and after World War II was punctuated by increasing downtown development. Post-war development brought more retail activities to downtown areas in Stark County. This boom in retail activity also resulted in more jobs, particularly in the areas of banking and associated government services, such as the county courthouse and city hall. A regular sight in the 1940s was that of a Sterling bread delivery vehicle. Regular home delivery was an integral part of day-to-day goings-on in the county.
Bread was our main object, but we always carried a basket, a display basket. And we had big rolls for 25, 29 cents. But we had whipped cream puffs in the cooler weather, 10 cents. But our bread we had a small loaf for 8 cents, and our most popular loaf was 16 ounces for 10 cents. And I remember then the stories, people would say, oh, you'll see the day when bread's $1 and not a loaf. You know, you never imagine that. And we dressed good, necktie, uniform, like a police cap. Yeah, we were big shots. Oh, these horses, I think they were smarter than half the drivers, I think. They knew the route. You could go on there, and the horse he knew his route. He'd go out, he'd stop at every stop. You know, you may take your bread in a basket and go up to this house, and he'd move up to the next stop, maybe on the same street there. Naturally, he'd never go too far away.
As the 50s arrived, many retail establishments followed, with Canton being the county seat and the headquarters for banking. Some of these thriving businesses included Stark Dry Goods, S.S. Kresge's, Simpson's Tobacco Store. Yes, the store with the upside-down sign. Polsky's Department Store. Adams Camera Shop, which had just about everything. And the Corner Grocery at Wirtz and Tusk, currently the home of Davies Drugs. Downtown was also the hub for many human services, including Mercy Hospital. Entertainment in Stark County wasn't limited to downtown, though, nor was it always on the big screen. Between Massillon and Canton was Myers Lake, home of the Moonlight Gardens and Ballroom. From the heyday of big bands and beyond, the ballroom played host to many, while thousands more listened at home on the radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to WHBC's Dance Time from the Moonlight Ballroom in Myers Lake Park in Canton, Ohio. This is John Chick welcoming you to 30 minutes of danceable stylings with Dom Clevey and the orchestra. They'll be providing the music for the next 30 minutes, and we hope you'll join us on the radio because everyone here at the ballroom's having a fine time. So it's Dance Time with Dom Clevey.
Whether you came to dance or to just listen, the Moonlight Ballroom was even home to some nationally recognized entertainers, including Glenn Miller. Ironically, Glenn Miller was the last performer to appear in the ballroom prior to a devastating fire that destroyed the building and, along with it, a lifetime of dreams. To this day, many describe that fire as one of the saddest days in Stark County. Another type of dance was All City Night, geared towards the younger crowd. Teens from all over the area would come together, and once a month, the YWCA would come alive with their endless energy. Stark Countyans have always loved a celebration. And in August of 1955, it was the observance of the Canton Sesquicentennial that gave rise to a party. And what would a birthday celebration be without a parade? A parade that featured floats, high school marching bands, and of course, a queen.
Part of the Sesquicentennial celebration was selecting two queens, the Miss Canton and Miss Stark County Sesquicentennial. The way you were elected was people would buy tickets for the pageant in your name. They had coupons in the newspaper. That's where most people got their chance to vote for the girls. Originally, there were 675 girls, and they could be nominated by anybody, by a friend, relative, and to this day, I'm not sure who nominated me. I think it might have been somebody at the Timken Company. That's where I was working at the time. And of those 675, it was narrowed down to about 40. And from there, it was still narrowed down until 2 girls were selected. And the winner was Nancy Regal. And I understand she was a college student at the time. And she was Miss Canton, I was Miss Stark County. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. In the pageant that took place at the Fawcett Stadium, it just gave the history of Canton and Stark County in like, they call them epilogues, and there were like 8 or 9 scenes, and there were thousands of people that took part in this, dressed in the old, full dresses and the bonnets, and the men with their mustaches. They even had a mustache contest. And that went on every night at Fawcett Stadium.
Practically everyone who ever spent time downtown during Christmas will be quick to tell you there was nothing quite like it. The additional hustle and bustle made for an electric atmosphere that had more to do with a child's anticipation than anything else. It was a time of the year that pumped added life into the area. The streets and storefronts were brightly decorated, and people were everywhere. Once downtown, every kid had a clear-cut game plan on what sites to visit. The must-see stops included Santa's Workshop and, of course, Kobacher's.
Kobacher's had a kind of an inlet and around a pillar in the middle, and in there was a Santa Claus. But they later on moved it up on the 4th floor where they had a Santa Claus land. They had a train and a merry-go-round and other toys like that. And then they had a space that they set aside for kids to go in and shop. They had to pass through a certain height. Anybody above that height couldn't go in. And there was a lady in there that would take them around, and they'd buy things for their folks or different things. And then they'd bring them out and then they'd purchase them.
Another big holiday favorite was the Ice-Capades, which visited the Canton Auditorium each holiday season for the spectacular Holiday on Ice show. Unlike today's modern arenas where even the best seats seem miles away, a live show at the Canton Auditorium meant you were right on top of the action. And what action there was! Skaters, music, decorations, and all the lights and magic the season could muster. If you weren't in the holiday spirit by the end of this show, there wasn't much hope. Downtown holiday decorations seldom went unnoticed, some because of their beauty, and some because of their, well, let's say, uniqueness. It could be said the Plaza tree looked better at night. On every kid's gift list was a new sled, especially the famous Flexible Flyer. Oftentimes you will hear people remark that we just got more snow back then. More than likely we were younger and just enjoyed it more. In fact, some streets were designated for sledding. Without having to watch for vehicular traffic, sledding had to be more fun. A favorite off-street sledding area was Tam O'Shanter Golf Course. Some snow, a great hill, and a fast, flexible flyer was all you needed for an afternoon of frosty fun. The more adventuresome winter enthusiast might find themselves in southern Stark County at Bear Creek, where a run down the hill takes on a whole new meaning. For those with a slightly slower pace in mind, Bear Creek also had horse-drawn sleigh rides as well. While it may not have produced the thrills of a toboggan run, it did allow you a chance to cozy up to your companion and watch the quiet, snow-crusted countryside wander past. It was something right off the cover of a Currier and Ives card. A fair number of wintertime activities in Stark County were free, especially in areas designated for sledding or ice skating. Most of these places could easily be found in one of the many city parks. You could always find a winter wonderland of activity in Ink Park, Stadium Park, or in Monument Park. There was even room for a competitive event or two, such as hurtling down the frozen race, where a solitary skater could come in first, bad hat and all. During earlier winters, a popular spot was Wilson's Pond, located around Logan and Market Avenues in Canton. The relationship between Mother Nature and Stark County has always been an interesting one. Two wintertime storms seem to stick out, however. In 1910, a blizzard struck Stark County that dumped a crippling snow on the area, burying areas of Myers Lake in giant snowdrifts. But as far as all-time winter storms go, the blizzard of 1950 ranks towards the top. The storm's ferocity was only matched by its timing, striking on Thanksgiving Eve and catching more than a few at grandmother's house with no way to get back home. Paralyzed by the nearly 2 feet of snow, many postponed their traditional Thanksgiving feast until the turkey could be uncovered. This storm gave a whole new meaning to the phrase, long holiday weekend. Some 7 years prior to the Great Thanksgiving Blizzard was a summertime storm that brought no less fear and destruction into the lives of Stark County residents. Friday, August 13th, 1943, a tornado descended on Canton that would forever mark Friday the 13th as an unlucky omen for many. If it wasn't the challenge of too much wind or snow, it was too much rain that plagued Massillon residents. Prior to flood control measures, high water was a frequent menace to many parts of the county. The funny thing about floods is that they come in slow and stay too long, leaving a soggy aftermath of mud and goo in its path. Even in the midst of such an unsavory dilemma, leave it to the young to find a way to make it tolerable. Despite such setbacks, Stark Countyans have never lost sight of the value of entertainment to ease what ails them. Mother Goose Land was a childhood favorite for many that was officially opened by actress Betty White. Built around Mother Goose nursery rhymes, such as The Old Woman Who Lived in the Shoe, kids could run, slide, and jump their way through an entire afternoon. And by day's end, some kids were even brave enough to go into the giant blue whale. The city park system provided entertainment for most, including swimming at the city-owned pool at 6th and Schroyer. On a hot summer's day, it was the only place to be found. After swimming, you could play at Duber Park, Waterworks Park, or fish in the lagoon at Monument Park. Stadium Park had its famous stepping stones, and Ink Park had picnic shelters or shady knolls just perfect for an outdoor feast. Ink Park, as you may recall, gave way to the development of Interstate 77 and Route 62. In addition to the city parks, the Crystal Park area was home to the Nimishillen Zoo, which fascinated both young and old alike with its beautiful gardens and a wide variety of animals. One of the area's best swimming attractions was located at Lake O Springs Park. The famous spinning top was yours for the day, if you could defend it. Undoubtedly, the king of fun was Myers Lake Amusement Park. Myers Lake Park was a superb swimming spot too, but it was the amusement park that attracted the crowds.
There's a place that I know that's not from long ago. Now it's gone. All the sounds that I hear bring such joy to my ears. Now it's gone. Lost in a time that moved on, but somehow those feelings I long. The child inside us all will go on. It's a carousel dream that's been lost in between all our lives. When you just realize that it's gone from your eyes, now it's gone. Lost in a time that moved on, but somehow those feelings I long. The child inside us all will go on. Why do things ever change? Somehow it's not the same. Take these last memories. It's a part of life I love so, and don't want to let it go with time. And it's so easy to lose one day, leave it behind your way, find it all over again. Oh, those were the days we miss, a dream and a wish away. Those were the days we miss, a dream and a wish away.
If you couldn't get to the fun, sometimes the fun would come to you, especially the circus. For years, the circus came to town with its special kind of excitement that was hard to match. It might have been the allure of seeing things not normally seen in Stark County, whether it was the circus animals or the human performers. Certainly, the arrival of the circus was a youngster's dream come true, and many gathered along the rail spur on Maryland Avenue in Canton to join in the Elephant March to the Stark County Fairgrounds. The question of whether it was more fun to watch the circus going up than actually going remains unaware. But undoubtedly, there was something fresh about seeing it all come together. Speaking of the fairgrounds, the end of summer was always marked by the beginning of another Stark County fair. Another staple of the annual fair was harness racing, which, despite the best efforts of the drivers and horses alike, did not always come off as intended. Over the years, Stark County has been home to many great family-owned restaurants, including the Avalon Drive-In, home of the Big Sis. Buzzing the A on Cleveland Avenue Northwest was an event unto itself. Ironically, the Avalon was demolished in 1970 to give way to a Wendy's. Equally popular were Lou Jan's and Eckert's on West Tuscan Canton, where real car hops on roller skates served your favorite meal. Along the 800 block of Marquette Avenue South was the Hamburg Inn, where you could order anything you wanted, just as long as it was a burger. Also popular were Linway's, or as it was known later, the Red Coachman. The Elite Restaurant in downtown Canton near the square. The Avalon Restaurant. and the Landmark, still standing today at Cherry and Tusk in Canton. Others have just as long a history and still remain. A trip to Taggart's for a Bittner or a Wimpy is what makes Stark County feel like home to so many first-time visitors. Taggart's has managed to retain the old with the new and keeps those memories alive. It could be the player piano or the building architecture. Best guess here is that having some of the tastiest homemade ice cream in town doesn't hurt either. Jack's Quick Shake in Canton South was a popular and memorable meeting spot for many.
I think we were sort of special because we were right here every day, both of us, with all the personal contact with our customers. And he would really give them a hard way to go, and they really enjoyed it. If he wasn't here, they came looking for him because their day wasn't complete unless he was hollering at them about something. We had milkshakes from 10 cents to $1. 10, 17, 25, 35, 50, and $1. And the dollar one was a half a gallon. And the bigger fellows, the football players, they always had to test each other to see if they could consume that much. And they got away with it. The band always practiced after school, and they would take them and march them up the alley behind our place here. And then they'd march them back, and then they'd all come over here and get them all milkshakes.
One of Canton's most currently recognized structures was once the focus of an equally recognized battle to save it from the wrecking ball. The Stables restaurant on 12th Street in Canton is located in what used to be the Timken Stables. On more than one occasion, it was scheduled for demolition before finally being saved and converted into a sports-themed restaurant. One of the many unique features of this facility are the large steel beams across the ceiling. These huge beams were salvaged from the demolition of the old Washington High School in Massillon, the alma mater of its owner, Chris Spielman. Now a modern sports bar, located within a couple stone throws from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Stables has a storied past that has taken it from a sorry eyesore to a position on the Ohio Historical Society's Registry of Historic Landmarks. The Stables was not the only facility saved by hard work and a touch of good old ingenuity. In 1958, the St. Haralambos Greek congregation picked up its entire church and moved it from downtown Canton to a new site on 25th Street in Harvard Northwest. In order to move the building, the church was divided into two sections and slowly towed through the streets of downtown Canton. Once at its new home, the two sections were rejoined with a new middle portion that increased the church's overall size. Churches weren't the only things on the move in Stark County as Interstate 77 and Route 62 construction began. The birth of Interstate 77 also gave credence to the location chosen for the construction of Stark County's most famous landmark, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The community effort organized to bring the Hall of Fame to Stark County will go down in history. A call to action in 1959 prodded city planners into action, and by 1961, plans were submitted to football officials. Once approved, construction began. 2 years later, in 1963, the hall opened as a relatively simple two-building complex. But the rise in popularity of pro football has led to several expansions over the years. Of course, the hall has brought many famous visitors to Stark County, including President Richard Nixon and his wife Pat. With the National Football Shrine located in town, creation of an annual event to enshrine new members became a natural. What started small has grown dramatically over the years into a week-long festival that features a variety of organized as well as spontaneous celebrations. The whole process actually begins in May each year, with the crowning of a Hall of Fame queen and her court. These festivities mark the unofficial beginning of another Hall of Fame season. Billed as football's greatest weekend, Stark County is in the national limelight, and music and excitement fill the air. Just some of the Hall of Fame activities include the Balloon Festival, which has quickly become a spectator favorite, the 10K race, the Downtown Ribs Burn-Off, which attracts thousands of participants, and an evening-ending fireworks display that is second to none. Not to be left in the shadows is the Saturday morning parade. Each year it grows in size, featuring many nationally known celebrities from movies and television. But perhaps what makes the parade so special are the local marching bands and the area students who brave the elements and the pressure to make their schools proud. However, two bands that no longer march in the parade are from Lehman and Lincoln High Schools.
I enjoyed the Hall of Fame parade, and I have two souvenirs from that. If I take my shoes and socks off, I'd show you my feet. They're flat. I enjoyed it very much because, well, I just enjoyed yelling at the people and having them wave and so forth and so on. I never worried about what we were playing because I played the same march all the time. I remember the one march that we played, Hosts of Freedom was called. Right in front of us was Lou Groza being hauled, you know. I went up and talked to him afterwards. There's one march he'll never forget. It's Hosts of Freedom. But he heard that 25 times on the route of the Hall of Fame. Of course, in those days, when I marched in it, it was a little different route. You started out the same place, but then you went over to Fulton and out that way. We used to have military ball every year. I started that here. That was a big dance, and it was held very formal down to the Nesto Hotel at that time. And the boys in the band wore their uniform, and the girls wore formals.
Stark County is also home of one of the nation's oldest and most hotly contested high school football rivalries, the annual Massillon-McKinley football game. Or is that McKinley-Massillon football game? Well, that depends on where you're from. Regardless of where your loyalty lies, both communities enjoy one of the most electric weeks of the year as they prepare for the big game. Store windows are decorated, the schools are decked out in red and black or orange and black, proclaiming each school's right to being the best team in town. The night before the traditional Saturday game takes on a carnival-like atmosphere, complete with parades, bonfires, speeches, and enthusiasm. For 104 years, these two high schools have locked horns each November. It's a proud tradition that is unparalleled anywhere else in the country.
Time
One of the many special icons to be part of this tradition was the late Jim Muzzy, who for years brought the action of high school sports to Stark Countyans over the airwaves via WHBC radio.
It's been very enjoyable, hectic, and a lot of pressure, but being with the young people, I think it keeps you young.
Is football king of the hill in Stark County? Well, maybe in the fall. But come wintertime, basketball takes center stage. Throughout the 50s and 60s, high school basketball in Stark County enjoyed enormous popularity, with 4 city high schools competing against each other, as well as powerhouse teams in other parts of the county. Round ball was at a fever pitch.
In 1966, we had one of our best teams at Lincoln. I don't remember the record, but I know it was outstanding, and the group of kids we had were very good. It was Danny Todd, Bruce Fowler, Doug Zelasco, Jeff Miller, and Jeff Skeels. We ended up going to the regional tournament that year, and we had an especially good game with the Lehman Polar Bears that year. And then the next year, this team went on to the state tournament.
We had gone to the state tournament in 59 and 60 with 24 straight wins. John Namsu and Joe Pucci and Don Kasser and Dave Perry, Chuck Marcelli. That was a great ball club, probably one of the greatest ball clubs that ever played in Canton.
Another special event was All-City Night, featuring Lehman, Lincoln, McKinley, and Timken at the Canton Fieldhouse. From those great inner-city rivalries grew a lifelong bond between 2 head coaches, Lincoln's Ken Newland and Timken's Fred Harold.
We had some great times, Fred. And All-City Nights were just something else. If you weren't part of All-City Nights, you didn't understand it. And like I've said before, it's proven what people thought of that by the alumni All-City Nights. We had 3 of them. Packed that place.
A lot of people.
3 nights.
A lot of kids, I've talked to kids, they don't understand what All-City was all about.
That's right.
But it was really a lot of electricity in that thing. There's a lot of good basketball that was played by the kids of Canton.
Recently, the magic of All-City Night was recaptured at a pep rally held at the old Lincoln High School that included cheerleaders and the school band. The magic of All-City Night was recaptured through the efforts of alumni from all 4 schools. Alumni Night has proven to be a hugely successful endeavor that provides fans and participants alike a chance to relive some wonderful memories.
To start out to be a friendly get-together, it ended up we were fighting each other like when they were young.
Yeah.
And I think the fans enjoyed it.
Those people go out there just like they did when All-City Night. They're all revved up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I had a reputation for having a temper during games. I suspect there was nothing put on about that. I am an emotional type of person. I run into people today, they ask me about kicking the bench and so on. That was one of the things that I guess I'm known for. I wish I'd be known for winning more basketball games, but I'll take that. It's a pleasant memory in retirement.
You almost destroyed that bench, Fred. It's a wonder you had anything left. No, but over the 20 years, we had some great games. Most of the time, I would think that I had the better material in those years. And I know one year I had the better material, and we beat you in the last game of All-City Night pretty easily. Mm-hmm. And then I ran into in the tournament. You beat us by 19 points. I've never forgotten that, Fred. I still wake up with nightmares about that.
I haven't forgotten it either.
Yeah, a lot of pleasant memories.
I believe that time can break down your heart. Round and round we go, through years we will part. It's sad to say it's true, you never can go back, and so we will try to keep it alive. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps you will find, it's all inside your mind. Go to your heart, go to your mind. When yesterday was mine. All our cares were gone as we rode to the sky. It's just a way of life as we watch it go by. It's sad to say it's true, you never can go back, and so we will try to keep it alive. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain.
Thomas Wolfe once wrote, "You can never go home again." Sad, but true. However, you can take one long last look back. If history repeats itself, generations to come will look for pieces of their past too, just as we have looked for ours now. And while it's too late to go back, memories sleep within all of us. Memories that may dim, but never fade. As long as grandparents share with grandkids, a small piece of us lives on. It took a lot of work to get us here, and it'll take as much or more to keep us going. What's gone is gone. What remains are great moments in time.
If you see a long and winding road, you may be surprised what you don't know. The days gone by, you don't have to leave behind. It's in your eyes, these moments in time. As days gone by, you don't have to leave behind. It's in our eyes, these moments